I was thinking recently about what virtues I think go into a successful life, and I was able to break it down into a few, and one of them stood out to me for today's video, which is just consistency. And I also had this idea to pair each virtue with a living embodiment, so somebody who I think is a really good role model for that virtue. So with consistency, I define it as a combination of doing a lot and doing it over a long period of time. So consistency is showing up repeatedly on a regular basis to do what needs to be done to succeed or grow. And to me, the living embodiment of this is David Goggins. The man went from being like 300 pounds overweight to just running one day and struggling really hard, and then doing it the next day, and then doing it again and again for years and years, and basically becoming superhuman through his actions, which I think is a really good example of what consistency can lead to. And he's not just consistent with his exercise, he was consistent with his learning. He had to overcome learning disabilities, dyslexia, all sorts of things. And he was consistent with his efforts to write his book and his efforts to, improve his relationship with his family and his parenting and all of it. So it just fascinated me to see how someone could go from such a low place to being, close to the best in the world at what they did within a span of a few years just through consistency. So I think consistency is really the cornerstone of a lot of achieving your goals. So whatever goals you might have, try to break it down into actionable regular steps. So if you want to be fit, okay, what's the exercises you have to do? What's the food you have to eat? Make it something you can consistently stick with. And the other part is, of course, growing the challenge over time. So if you can consistently do, say, 5 push-ups a day, then you increase it to six, seven, eight. And over time, before you know it, you're able to do like 20 push-ups, something you couldn't have done, a month ago. So I think consistency really leads to remarkable results if you stick with it. And honestly, I would much rather be the person who can do a little bit every day for years than someone who can do a lot but gives up within a few months. And you can actually test this for yourself, but I've found that working consistently 7 days a week, say 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, achieves more than working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I think there's something to that regularity that really aids skill acquisition and growth and memory, all of these things. Whereas when you have these breaks in between, it can become hard to keep the momentum. So my recommendation is figure out where you want to be consistent and stick with it long enough to make it a habit.